It's early. The kettle clicks off, coffee fills the kitchen, and a tiny white pouch rests beside the keys. Quiet, neat, almost easy to overlook. Maybe you saw the FDA headline and thought, finally, proof these pouches are safe. The real story lives in two careful words, compared with cigarettes. That comparison matters because a nicotine pouch is not simply a miniature cigarette, and it is not a piece of gum that happens to feel modern. It sits under the lip, where nicotine moves through the lining of the mouth. No burning tobacco means a very different exposure profile. On January 16, 2025, FDA authorized 20 specific ZYN products to be marketed to adults after reviewing their applications under the tobacco product pathway. That was a marketing authorization. It meant those particular products could be sold legally. It did not declare them safe, nor did it turn them into medicine. FDA said its review found substantially lower amounts of harmful constituents than in cigarettes and most smokeless tobacco products. Lower exposure is the key phrase. Then, on June 30, 2026, FDA made a separate decision, modified risk orders for the same 20 pouches with tightly specified marketing claims. The agency did not award a gold star to nicotine. It authorized a narrow comparison for named products under defined conditions and continuing oversight. Think of it as fine print, with public health stakes, a relative risk statement, not a blank check, and certainly not a personal health recommendation. FDA's January review explained why the comparison exists without combustion. These pouches expose users to far fewer harmful chemicals than cigarette smoke. But lower chemical exposure does not erase nicotine's pull. Nicotine is highly addictive, and researchers are still working out pouch effects over years. So let's follow three people through this claim. An adult smoker hoping to leave cigarettes behind, a teen seeing a discreet novelty, and a curious toddler. Each meets the same small pouch. The health meaning changes completely with the person, the pattern of use, and whether cigarettes remain in the picture. First, the adult smoker. Imagine a patio after dinner. One cigarette left in the pack. A cough they have started pretending not to notice. For this person, a complete switch away from cigarettes may reduce exposure to many toxic substances created when tobacco burns. That is the harm reduction hypothesis. Thoughtful. The crucial word is complete. Using pouches on work days while smoking at night keeps cigarette smoke in the equation and muddies the hoped-for benefit. We cannot assume that adding a pouch to smoking produces the same outcome as replacing smoking. Those are different behaviors with different exposures. FDA's modified risk action applies only to 20 ZYN products and only to authorized claims. It does not certify every pouch on a convenience store shelf. It also does not say a person who never used nicotine should begin. A lower risk route from smoking is not a benefit for a non-user. If you smoke, consider treating this headline as a prompt for a conversation, not an instruction. A clinician or pharmacist can map options around your history. CDC notes that nicotine pouches are not FDA-approved smoking cessation aids. The evidence does not yet establish them as a proven way to stop smoking. Evidence-based options may include counseling, nicotine replacement products, or prescription medicines. The right fit can depend on your health and past quit attempts. A pouch could be part of someone's real-world transition, but it should not be confused with a medication plan that has been tested for cessation. That distinction protects you from a common marketing shortcut. If something carries an FDA claim, it can sound like a treatment. These claims are different. Pouches deliver nicotine through gums and mouth lining. They can use tobacco-derived or synthetic nicotine, which CDC says differs little chemically. The delivery looks quiet. There is no ashtray, no smoke cloud, no stepped-outside ritual. Yet the brain still receives an addictive drug. That matters especially for people who had finally stopped thinking about nicotine. A sleek, discrete format can make restarting feel less consequential. CDC says more research is needed on both short and long-term health effects of nicotine pouches. New is not the same as well understood. If you do not use tobacco or nicotine now, the health case is straightforward. Consider leaving pouches alone. There is no health upside to starting. The second person is a teenager at a bus stop, passing around a small tin that fits easily into a palm and leaves no smell. In the 2025 National Youth Tobacco Survey, 1.7% of U.S. middle and high school students, about 460,000 young people, reported current pouch use. That number does not prove pouches caused anyone's nicotine use. It does tell us youth access and appeal are real public health questions. FDA requires tobacco companies to follow youth access restrictions, and its authorizations include ongoing monitoring. Authorization can be withdrawn if standards are no longer met. But monitoring is not magic. It is a way of watching for outcomes that may change as products, marketing, and social habits change. Parents and caregivers may help by naming nicotine plainly. Without panic, it can hook a developing brain even when it arrives without smoke. Ask open questions. What have you seen at school? What do friends think it does? Curiosity gives better information than a lecture. The goal is not to make a pouch mysterious or glamorous. It is to make the trade-offs visible before a habit gets momentum. The third person cannot read fine print at all, a toddler exploring a low coffee table while adults talk nearby. Concerned, America's poison centers reported nicotine pouch exposures rose 202% from 2022 to 2024. In 2025 through August, children under 6 made up 73.1%. A small pouch is easy to underestimate. To a young child, its size, soft texture, and flavored scent can make it easy to grab. If pouches are in your home, consider storing every tin secured, high, and out of sight, not in a bag, pocket, or open drawer. If a child may have swallowed or mouthed one, call Poison Help in the U.S. at 1-800-222-1222 right away for guidance. Do not wait for an internet search to tell you whether the amount was small enough. The specific product, dose, and child matter. Now return to that FDA phrase, modified risk. It sounds broad, but it is engineered to be narrow, product-specific, and conditional. The 2026 orders let the manufacturer market specific modified risk claims for 20 ZYN pouches. They do not apply automatically to other brands or formats. The words lower risk always require the rest of the sentence, lower than what, for whom, and under which pattern of use. Here, the comparison is cigarettes, and the relevant adult is someone who switches completely. Remove either condition, and the claim changes shape. This is why science literacy is protective. It helps you hear a headline without borrowing more certainty from it than the evidence provides. One useful pause before buying, ask whether you are replacing cigarettes entirely, adding nicotine, or trying to stop nicotine altogether. Those goals lead to different next steps. A complete switch may lower cigarette-related exposure. Dual use may preserve it. Quitting nicotine is another goal. FDA's 2025 announcement explicitly said its action did not mean the products were safe or FDA approved. That sentence deserves equal headline space. It also deserves a calm reading. This is not an argument that every adult smoker should make the same choice. If you are pregnant, have heart disease, take regular medications, or have oral health concerns, consult your doctor before changing nicotine use. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine. For an adult who smokes, the most important practical question may be simple. What is your next cigarette-free day, and what support makes it realistic? Consider setting that plan with a clinician, pharmacist, quit-line coach, or trusted person. Specific support often beats relying on willpower alone. For a non-user, the next step is simpler. Do not let a reduced risk comparison recruit you into nicotine dependence. For households, make storage boring and routine. Secure nicotine products the same day they enter the home, before a child finds them. And for everyone, read past the biggest word in the ad. The smaller words usually tell you what the claim actually covers. Warmly. If this careful, no-hype health translation helps you, consider liking and subscribing. It lets us keep following the evidence where it leads. The tiny pouch is not the whole story. Combustion, addiction, age, use pattern, and home safety all change what it means. FDA's two actions were separated by nearly 18 months, marketing authorization first, then a limited modified risk authorization. Those are distinct regulatory decisions. That timeline is a useful reminder. Regulations can recognize a comparison without declaring a product benign or suitable for everyone. A smaller exposure is not zero exposure, a less harmful alternative is not harmless, and a legal product is not a cessation medicine. Those three sentences can keep a complicated headline honest. They leave room for harm reduction while refusing to erase the risks. If cigarettes are part of your life, you deserve clear options, not shame and not advertising translated into medical advice. Consider asking a healthcare professional, what is the strongest evidence for my goal? And how can I lower risk without creating a new problem? If nicotine is not part of your life, you can let this headline pass by. Not every new product is a new need. And if there are children nearby, move the tin now. A few seconds of storage can matter more than a page of fine print. The FDA claim is a comparison, not a comfort blanket. It asks us to pay attention to the direction of risk and its limits. That is the healthier way to hear it, clearly, calmly, with the full context, and with your own goals in frame. Small change, big fine print. Read both before you decide what belongs in your routine, your home, and your health plan.